What's up, guys? In this video I'm going to be showing you what's on my Nintendo Switch, and I know some of you guys out there probably got some gift cards for the holidays or got some credit to some stores, and maybe this video will give you some ideas on maybe what your next purchase is going to be on the Nintendo Switch. Also, keep in mind, in this video this is going to be a very long video, so sit back, relax, get your snacks, get your popcorn, get your drink, and watch me ramble on for quite some time. Also, a disclaimer in this video really quickly, I'm not going to be showing you footage of every single game. It would just take way too long. This video would be even longer, and on top of that, not every game on this list needs to have a video because some of these are mainstream games and you guys already know what these games are, so I'm not going to be showing you footage from popular games. I will be showing you footage from some of the more obscure games that maybe you haven't heard of and maybe you want to check out. Anyway, let's get started with the video. Right off the bat, you may notice something. I'm mostly digital on my Nintendo Switch. 100% of the time, I do buy games digitally. Right now on my Nintendo Switch, I actually have a 200 gig micro SD card because I knew I was going to need it right off the bat, since the Switch really doesn't have a lot of storage. You only get like 20 something gig out the box out of your 32 gig, so it's not that great. And on top of that, you do have to keep in mind on the Switch, you do have to use the internal memory for saving your games, so that does take up some extra space as well. So I decided to go with one of the bigger memory cards. I think 200 gigs not too impractical, and I think for the amount of money you're spending and the amount of gig you're getting per dollar spent, I think it's not that bad a deal. Once you go past 200 gig, that's where the deals start getting really crazy, unless you can find a micro SD card on sale or something like that. But anyway, let's actually get into this. Keep in mind also, I do have 2 physical games on this list, and you will be able to see them in this video. The only time I go physical on the Switch is when I get deals from like retailers when they're on sales for like Black Friday or just sales in general. I usually go ahead and buy physical games on my Switch, but besides that, I normally don't buy Switch games physically. I'm mostly all digital on my Switch. Now, the first game on my list you can see I do own is Diablo 3 Internal Collection. I can't speak of this because I haven't played this. You can see on screen right now, it's actually currently downloading the game for me. I just picked this up a second ago, right before I started recording this video. I just wanted to get this video out as fast as possible since the holidays are coming to an end and maybe you don't know what to use your credit on. But there is Diablo right there. This is a pretty good game. I know a lot of people like Diablo. Diablo is pretty much an action RPG if you're into action RPGs. If you like the whole leveling up system of different classes, if you like loot collecting. I am actually a big fan of loot collecting in video games when it comes to loot collecting. I play games like Borderlands. Borderlands 2 is easily my favorite game of all time. Probably, I'm just going to be honest, because I spent well over 1,000 hours in multiple gameplays of that. I just love loot collecting. I love leveling up. I love things like that, and that's what Diablo is going to give me. Another reason I got Diablo is because it is on sale. If you're watching this in the future, it's probably not on sale, but this game actually been on sale twice now in December. One for the Game Awards, and it was actually on sale for the holidays right now. I picked this up for only $20. This is on sale right now for $40, but I actually got it for $20 since I had some extra eShop credit I got for Christmas, so I decided why not get this. I'm probably going to end up liking this, and on top of that, I ended up playing a game way back in the day called Gauntlet. If any of you guys ever played Gauntlet, it's by a company called Midway, which Midway went broke, but Midway was a big company in terms of arcade games. They made the famous series Mortal Kombat, which you guys know Mortal Kombat is a big, huge fighting game. But yeah, overall, this game I think is a very good value. I don't know if it's worth $60 since this is a dirt old game. I think this game came out in 2012. It's a very old game, but there's a lot of content in here. And on top of that, one thing that's really appealing to me about Diablo is the fact that Diablo is a game you can play offline or online, and you can play it 4 players, either offline or online, which is absolutely insane and crazy. Keep in mind, you do need an online Nintendo Switch account. You have to pay for online if you want to play this game online, so you do need a Nintendo Switch online account, which is $20 a year to play this online. But I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. Probably by the time I'm done uploading this video, honestly, I'm probably going to head out and go ahead and play Diablo, and that's pretty much what I'm going to be playing for the holiday season. I'm going to be playing a lot of Diablo, to be honest with you guys. Next up, we have YouTube. YouTube is just YouTube. Just download it. It's free. You know, YouTube's YouTube. And next up, we have the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy. I do know for the holidays and for Black Friday, this game has been going on sale as of recently. And this game is, I think, like $26 now. You can pick this up at different retailers. And I know the eShop has this on sale as well. And I think for the amount of content you're getting in this game's easily justifying the $40 price tag it normally goes for. I would easily pick this up. You're getting so much content. You're getting the first three Crash Bandicoot games, and those are some of the best platforming games, and you definitely can't miss out. And I think you're going to have a great time with the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy. I know I did. There's so much to do, whether you're talking about just completing the games for fun, or if you want to go ahead and try to 100% each and every game. It's going to take you a very long time. Keep in mind, Crash Bandicoot is a platformer that's only a single player only, so you're not going to be doing any local co-op or anything like that. It's only single player, but I think what you have here is a very great game, and it's definitely one game you shouldn't overlook. I wouldn't say it's a must-buy, but it's definitely a game you should buy if you don't have anything else to play, and maybe you like platformers or just like having fun with these games. The only problem with the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy, I will have to admit, is the fact that the Crash Bandicoot N. Sane Trilogy is a very brutal game. So if you like games that are pretty hard, then you may like this. But if you don't like games that are hard, you may have problems with this game, because me and my friend were actually playing this game, and he's not all that good at video games, even though he likes them, and he was struggling a lot when it comes to the Crash Bandicoot game. So keep in mind, you may start struggling a little bit here and there when it comes to the Crash Bandicoot games, because they are not the easiest of platformers, but they're not the hardest, but they do have some challenge, and it may be a little bit too hard, but overall definitely a good game. Next up, I have Fire Emblem Warriors. Now Fire Emblem Warriors is actually one of my only Nintendo Switch games that is a physical game. I actually got this for $15, and I was like, I'm not quite sure how I feel about these games. Fire Emblem Warriors is pretty much a Dynasty Warriors ripoff. If you ever played those games, it's pretty much a mindless hack and slash game, and that's pretty much all you're doing. The story is not that great. A lot of people said it doesn't really resemble the Fire Emblem games all that much. It doesn't have anything related to this. It's pretty much its own spin-off and its own actual story, so it's not continuation of any of the Fire Emblem games. And overall, it gets really repetitive and really boring really fast. But if you just want some mindless fun, then definitely go ahead and buy this game. I honestly, personally, in my opinion, would not pay the $60 for this game, because I just think this game is just too repetitive and there's not a lot to do in this game. You're doing the same thing over and over and over, no matter what mode you're playing this game. Whether you're playing the story mode or whether you're playing the history mode, you're pretty much doing the same thing over and over and over, so it can get boring. But if you get this for like 20, 30, why not take a chance on this? But other than that, it's not all that great, and there's nothing amazing about it. It's just a normal hack and slash game on the Nintendo Switch, just like Dynasty Warriors. Next up, we have one of the biggest games for the holiday season. We have Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Now, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, of course, is a game that everybody probably already knows, and a lot of people have been picking this up for the holiday. Of course, I'm not going to say anything about this game. It's definitely worth easily $60 no matter what you tell me, because there's so much content in here, especially if you love video game history, if you love everything Nintendo, or if you just love just different things. This game's going to really make you happy, make you smile, and overall, this game is an amazing game. Definitely worth every penny of $60. Of course, don't really need to talk too much more about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Next up, I have the Nintendo Entertainment System Online. That's pretty much if you pay for the online service, which I do pay for the online service, $20 a year, and you can pretty much play some old NES games. Don't really need to talk about that all too much. Next up, we have a game called Splatoon 2. Splatoon 2 is absolutely a very good game. I don't know if it's worth $60. A lot of people complain about this game because I feel like there's not too much more content compared to the original back on the Wii U, and I get that argument, so maybe it's not worth $60. If you haven't played it, maybe it is worth $60. I will tell you, there's not a lot of content in this game that does kind of suck, and especially if you have played the first one, I can say it's just pretty much more of the same. You can kind of think of Splatoon 2 as like a Splatoon 1.5. Overall, I liked what I played of this game. I've well gotten 200-300 hours into this game, and I love every minute of this game. It's not your traditional shooting game like a third-person or a first-person shooter. This is a third-person shooter, but it works differently. Pretty much you're these Inkling kids, and you got to splat ink around an arena, and as you're splatting ink around the arena, whichever team has the most ink splatted around an arena, that's pretty much determines who wins this game, and it's a very cool concept, and there's no other game on the market like Splatoon 2, so if you want a very different shooter, then definitely check this game out. One downside to this game, I will have to admit, talking about the Nintendo Switch, is the fact that Splatoon 2, You cannot play offline, unfortunately. So if you're a gamer that plays your Nintendo Switch mostly on the go, you will be disappointed to find out there's nothing you can do on offline in this game. I think you can play single player mode, but after you beat single player mode, you can't do anything else with the game offline, so you're pretty much out of luck. So I wouldn't recommend it to people who only play in handheld mode. You're pretty much going to be disappointed there. It's kind of a shame Nintendo didn't update this game with like having the Salmon mode offline, which is the horde mode in this game, which they do have, or they didn't actually update this game with like bots or anything like that. So it is kind of disappointing in that aspect, but overall I think it's still a solid buy, maybe at $40-50. You can have some pretty good fun with Splatoon 2. Also keep in mind there's no local co-op in this game, so you will have to have 2 individual Switches and 2 copies of this game if you want to play with your friend, unfortunately. Next up we have Mario Kart. Mario Kart is Mario Kart, don't really need to explain myself there. Next up, again, Minecraft is Minecraft. The good thing with Minecraft on the Switch is the fact that you can take this on the go, and on top of that, they still update this game, so this is definitely still a game they support. If you own this on the Wii U and you still play it, you might want to upgrade if you have a Switch, just because they update this with the newest and latest features, which is a great feature. Stardew Valley is a very good game. I personally could not get into Stardew Valley. I tried my hardest to get into Stardew Valley, and I thought this would be my cup of tea, but this is definitely not my cup of tea. It's pretty much a life sim. If you like life sims, or if you like farming games, this game's more closer to not really Sims, but it's more closer to Harvest Moon and Rune Factory. If you ever played those series, then you're gonna feel right at home, whether you're farming, fishing, mining, talking to villagers, things like that. That's pretty much what this game revolves around. So if you like life sims in general, then you're probably going to have a very good time with this game. And on top of this, this game does support online multiplayer. If you have friends who have a Switch and have Stardew Valley, you can play this game online with friends. You can have a very good time. I know a lot of people out there are putting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley has a lot of value for your money, and you can't go wrong with it. I just really could not get into this, but this game is only $15, so definitely worth your time to check this game out. Next up, we have No Reload Heroes. Honestly, I don't even know why I bought this. I'm not going to show gameplay or not going to show anything about this game. This game is just junk. I would just definitely stay away from this game. You can have some mindless fun, but this game's too expensive. I think the normal price for this is $10. I got this with my gold points for $1, but honestly, I would skip out on this game altogether. Next up, we have a game called Dead Cells. Dead Cells is a roguelike experience, and the great thing about roguelikes is you get so much value for your money. I've already put in well over like 100 hours into this game, and there is so much content in this game and just so much replayability. I love Dead Cells. One nice thing about Dead Cells is the fact that, in my opinion, it has some of the most satisfying combat you will ever play in a video game. Like, honestly, I was blown away by how fun the combat of this game was. That's why I keep coming back to this game over and over and over. The combat is amazing, and on top of that, they are going to be releasing a new update to this game, version 1.1, which is not out at the time of this recording, and it's pretty much going to add a whole bunch of stuff into this game, and it's actually going to allow you to choose what weapons and what stuff you can actually do in each run. So it's going to kind of take out the roguelike elements of this game if you just want to choose what stuff you have unlocked. So it's going to bring much more content to the game, and definitely I would definitely get this game. This game is one of the more expensive indie games. It's like $20-something, but I still think it's worth every penny of this game, considering how much time you're probably going to put into Dead Cells. I can highly not recommend Dead Cells enough. Definitely buy Dead Cells if you like roguelikes, or if you like games that have a lot of replayability, or if you like satisfying combat in video games. This is going to be right up your alley. Okay, let's go into all software and see what other software I have on the Switch. Next up, we have Celeste. A lot of people probably know what Celeste is. Celeste was one of the games that was nominated at the Game Awards, and it was one of the best games of 2018. It's an indie game. It's a platformer. It's a very hard platformer. One thing this does differently than most platformers is the fact that there is no combat whatsoever. It's mostly about the pure platforming of this game. The one thing that makes Celeste definitely worth a buy is the fact that the story of this game is absolutely fantastic and amazing. You play this girl called Madeline, and you really feel for her while you're playing this game. She struggles with mental health issues, and overall it's just amazing. The people she meets. I'm not going to spoil anything of the story here, but you should definitely check this game out. The only downside I can say to this game is this game does get quite hard, so be prepared for that. I think a lot of people who are casual gamers or really don't play games may want to skip out on this. I know that they have a mode that'll help you out in this game if you're having too much difficulty with a game, but then that kind of defeats the purpose of buying this game. So I would say if you're not really good at these type of games, I would probably skip out on this game because this is not your traditional platforming game. This is one of the more harder platforming games. That's just me and my personal opinion, but overall, definitely worth a buy to at least play once. If you're into platforming games and you're into games that have an amazing storyline, then definitely check out Celeste. I'm telling you, you will not go wrong. The next game on my list is Enter the Gungeon. It's also like Dead Cells. It is a roguelike experience, but this one is a twin-stick roguelike experience where you're pretty much going around just shooting different guns. If you like guns, or if you just like shooting stuff mindlessly, or if you like roguelikes, which again have a lot of replayability, then I would definitely check out Enter the Gungeon. I've already put in like 200-300 hours into this game. This game is one of my most played indie games on my Nintendo Switch. I love everything about this game, and this game also got an update. Maybe you own this game already, but you haven't dived back into it. This game did get an update back in July called Dungeons and Dragons, I think it's called, or something like that. Anyway, they did get an update for this game, which added more floors, more bosses, just more things in general. Overall, I cannot recommend this game. If there's only one game on my whole list that you should buy, I would definitely recommend Enter the Gungeon. I've had so much fun with that game. Next up, we have Mega Man 11. That's my only other physical Switch game, and it's an okay game. It's what you expect. Mega Man, it's just more Mega Man. If you like Mega Man, if you like platformers, or if you're just like Mega Man, then you already know what this game's going to be about. They didn't really change the formula here all too much when it comes to Mega Man. It plays like any other Mega Man. They did add a new mechanic where you can slow down time in this Mega Man iteration, but when it comes to other stuff, you really can't do all that much, so it's still pretty much just more Mega Man. I don't think you can go wrong with this game either, because I think this game was only $30 at release, so it wasn't a full price game. Capcom realized for some reason they didn't want to charge full price, but it is what it is. But there's Mega Man 11. Here is Paladins on the Switch. Now, Paladins is a free-to-play game. It's actually on multiple platforms, so you can get this on PS4, Xbox One, of course the Switch that you're looking at, and the PC, I think. So it's on all platforms, and this game is free. The nice thing about the Nintendo Switch version of this game is the fact that the Nintendo Switch version of this game actually runs at 1080p, 60 frames per second, and that's absolutely unexpected, because you would think a game like Paladins, which is pretty much a clone of Overwatch, you would actually think would be running bad on the Nintendo Switch, but somehow they did some magic and it runs flawlessly on the Nintendo Switch. And honestly, I think this game's definitely worth a download, whether you're into Overwatch, whether you're into Team Fortress, or whether you just like shooters in general. I think you'll have a very fun time with this game, considering this game is free. I know a lot of people like to bash Paladins for being a clone of Overwatch, but in my opinion, I think it does some things a little bit different than Overwatch. Like, for instance, you can customize your loadout here, which I don't know if you can do in Overwatch, but you have these cars that you can customize, and you can pretty much build your perfect loadout, and you can have different loadouts for each class, which I think is unique to Paladins. I don't think it's in Overwatch. Overall, definitely give this game a try. You won't be disappointed. I think you'll have a lot of fun with Paladins, and don't overlook it just because you may already own Overwatch or stuff like that. But there it is, Paladins. Next up, I have the Uno demo. I do have some demos on my Switch. I don't know why these are on my Nintendo Switch. Honestly, I need to delete some of these demos. The next up, I have Warframe on the Nintendo Switch. This is pretty much an uncompromised version of Warframe. If you never played Warframe and maybe you want to get into Warframe, now's the time to get into Warframe. Warframe is a third-person shooter, I want to say, and it has a lot of Destiny-like elements. The world kind of looks like Destiny. It kind of feels like Destiny. You're collecting loot here and there, and overall, it's a very good experience. And I know people out there have literally spent thousands and thousands and thousands of hours on Warframe. You really can't go wrong with Warframe. I definitely think Warframe is one of those games that's kind of like a must download on the Nintendo Switch. It's still mind-blowing how this game runs so well on the Nintendo Switch with so much particles and so much effects. And on top of that, you can pretty much customize everything in the game when it comes to like the graphical aspects, when it comes to your controller inputs and things like this. They did an amazing job with Warframe. Next up, of course, we have one of the best games on the Switch without a doubt, which is Breath of the Wild. I don't really need to talk too much about Breath of the Wild. You either love Zelda or you don't love Zelda. That's pretty much plain and simple there. Next up, I have the Puyo Puyo Tetris. There is one thing I want to note about the Puyo Puyo Tetris demo. One thing I wanted to talk about the Puyo Puyo Tetris demo is the fact that this pretty much is the full game if you think about it, because they let you play full matches and you get 2 modes in the demo, so there's really no reason for me personally to buy the full game. I know I'd be supporting Sega or whatnot, but I'm not really into these type of puzzle games in the first place. I'm not good at Tetris. I don't really care for Puyo Puyo, but overall it's an okay game, and if you're not sure about this game, or if you just want pretty much kind of a free game, then you should definitely download Puyo Puyo Tetris, because it's pretty much the full game. You're just pretty much playing CPUs, or you can play people locally in the demo, and you can play full matches. That's absolutely still kind of blows my mind how they're pretty much letting you play full-on matches in the demo, and they're not giving you a time limit, and they're not cutting off the demo, but there it is right there. Next up, I have a coloring book. What can I say about it? It is a coloring book. They give you a lot of coloring books in the actual demo. You can buy more, but there's really no point to buying more because they give you enough, and yeah, there is Fortnite. Fortnite's one of the biggest free-to-play online multiplayer shooters, whatever you want to call it, and there it is. Don't need to talk more about that. Next up, I do have the new IP from Nintendo, which came out last year, which is ARMS. ARMS is an okay game, but honestly, I would say don't buy this game for $60. Don't buy this game for $50. 40, 30, knock this thing down to about $20 or $15, and then I think you'll have some fun with this game. I wouldn't say you won't have fun with this game for if you pay like $60 or $50 for this game. The only problem I have with this game is it's too repetitive, and it pretty much just feels like a different version of Wii Sports Boxing or Punch-Out. If you played the Punch-Out series, or if you played the Wii Sports Boxing back on the Wii Sports collection, then I think I don't know. I don't really know, honestly, what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that this game just gets repetitive and boring. There is some mode in this game and things like that, but overall, you're really just flaring your arms around, and there's not too much content, and the actual main gameplay mechanics are just boring after a while, so I would skip out on this altogether. Like I said, unless you get this for like $10, $15, $20 anymore, I don't know if it's really worth paying for. I paid $20 for ARMS. It's a fighting game, a boxing game, whatever you may call. Next up, I have Immortal Redneck. That's another roguelike game, but this one's actually a first-person shooter. But honestly, after playing this for a while, I was like, this game's really all not that good. You can see all the flaws in this game. This game, the main problem with this game is the fact that it's super repetitive, and on top of that, the engine and the graphics for this game are just not that good. You can tell this is like kind of feels like just overall it's just not good is basically what I'm trying to say. I honestly wouldn't pay for this. I think I paid $12 for this or something like that, but honestly I would not recommend Immortal Redneck in my opinion. It's one of the worst roguelikes you can buy. Maybe if you found this for cheap, you can have some fun. I was having some fun for a while, but then I had to abandon it. It just got really repetitive and really boring overall, but there it is right there, first person roguelike experience. Next up on the list, we have Graceful Explosion Machine. Now, Graceful Explosion Machine is a shoot-'em-up game. If you're into shoot-'em-ups, whether you play games like Galaga, whether you play games like just other games in the other games in the shoot-'em-up genre, then you may have some fun with this game. But honestly, this is another game I would stay away from because it's too repetitive and too boring. And you would think for a shoot-'em-up game, this game would have different levels and different bosses, but it's the same thing over and over. There's only 4 worlds in this game, and each world plays exactly the same, and it's just really boring and really bad. Stay away from this game. $20 is asking way too much money for this game. I can't stress this enough. Stay away from Graceful Explosion Machine, please. The next game I have on my list is Rocket League. This is a game that I also did not get into, just like Stardew Valley. I thought I would like this game, but for me, it's either I suck at this game or I just think it's really boring, just going around hours and hours just trying to hit a soccer ball into a goal. For me, I just could not get into this game. But I know a lot of people like Rocket League, and it's good on the Nintendo Switch. Definitely check it out if you like sports games or if you just like mindless fun or something like that. Next up, we have Brawlhalla, which is pretty much a Smash ripoff, but this game is free. This game actually features Rayman also as well, but honestly, I would skip out on this game as well because the mechanics of this game, the actual gameplay, overall, just everything about this game is just not that great, and honestly, I didn't really have too much fun with this game. It just got way too floaty. It just doesn't really feel all that satisfying to play, but there it is. I guess if you don't have Smash and you want something to do, you can check out Brawlhalla. Again, this is a free-to-play game on Switch. Next up, I had the Just Shapes and Beats demo. It's an okay game. Can't really speak too much about about it because I didn't buy it. But it's pretty much a rhythm game where you're this little square and you have to move around different obstacles in the level, and you're trying to avoid the beat essentially. So it's kind of like play on words. You're actually really trying to just avoid the beat, and you're playing music. Overall, I guess it's an okay game. Hyper Sentinel demo, I tried that out because I was really in the shoot 'em ups at one time, but this one kind of plays really weird and really different, so I kind of skipped out on this. But there it is right there, Hyper Sentinel. I just wanted to try it out. Next up, we have Overcooked 2, and honestly, if you're looking for a one of the best multiplayer games you can play on any platform, this is definitely the game to play. I would highly recommend this game. I can't recommend this game enough for multiplayer alone. If you're playing this for the single player game, I would say don't really buy this for single player because it kind of sucks the way you have to play this single player. But basically what Overcooked 2 is a co-op cooking game where you have to do different tasks, so it's kind of putting your brain to work. So you can kind of think of Overcooked 2 as kind of like a puzzle game in a sense, and then just stuff like that. The good news about this game, it does have an online component if you don't have any friends to play with, and then it also has a local co-op, of course, with up to 4 people. It does have single player, like I said. If you don't have anybody to play with, or you don't have internet or whatever, you can play this game single player, but it's not good single player. It's just too much multitasking and things like that. But overall, I can't recommend this game enough. I've had so much fun with my friends playing Overcooked 2. Definitely worth a buy on the Nintendo Switch. And I do know recently also they did release a new DLC for this game for Overcooked 2 to give us more content in this game. And I know this game goes on sale quite often on the Nintendo Switch eShop. You can find this from time to time. The next game I have is NBA Playgrounds. You can't buy this game anymore. They removed it, but you can buy NBA Playgrounds 2. If you like NBA Jam type games, or if you like arcade basketball games or arcade sports games in general, then you may want to check out NBA Playgrounds. I had some pretty good fun with this game overall and things like that. A very solid basketball game. Demo for I forgot the name of the game, but it's pretty much a rhythm-based game. It's a popular rhythm-based game in Japan. This game is actually on the American eShop. They did actually localize this if you want to play this game. It's a little bit too basic for a rhythm game, so if you're into rhythm games, you may want to skip out on this, to be honest, because it is too basic and too generic compared to even Guitar Hero and stuff like that. Next up, I have Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn. It's kind of a generic beat-em-up if you're into beat-em-ups. Honestly, I can't recommend this game really because it's really kind of boring and it's kind of repetitive. And I think you're paying $14 or $15 for this game, and I think that's a little bit too much for this game. But yeah, I got it for free from the NBA Playgrounds mistake. Next up is Strikers 1945. This is a famous shoot 'em up game. Honestly, this game's a pretty good game if you like shoot 'em up games. Just be warned, this game's a hard game. But what game in the shoot 'em up genre isn't hard? So this game is a very hard game. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Next up, I have Toy Stunt Bike Demo. I tried this game out. It's pretty much where you're trying to go through different challenges. I haven't actually bought this game. It's not really my cup of tea, but there it is right there. Next up, I have another shoot 'em up game. This game is called Rive Ultimate Edition, and this game is actually a very fantastic shoot 'em up game. If you like shoot 'em up games, then definitely give this game a try. This also has a local co-op if you're into local co-op games. The cool thing about this game is I think the main character of this game is hilarious and funny, and overall I liked my time with this game. It's actually funny that this game is kind of like half platformer slash half shoot 'em up. So you're going around platforming and you're also going around shooting up stuff in a shoot 'em up. So it's kind of like a mixture of the platforming and shoot 'em up at the same time. Overall, I liked Rive and I liked what I played of this game. Next up, we have Xenoraid, and Xenoraid is another shoot-'em-up game. This game kind of tries to take elements from roguelike games and tries to put them with the shoot-'em-up genre. So if you like roguelikes and then you also like shoot-'em-up games, then you're probably going to like this game. I would say the roguelike elements of this shoot-'em-up game are very minimal anyway, and they're really not all that spectacular, and they're really not all that necessary. And if you're buying this mainly for a roguelike, thinking it's going to be a roguelike type shoot 'em up game, you're going to be getting a different genre, then you're going to be quite disappointed with this game. I must have to tell you, because the roguelike elements, like I said, don't really play too big of a role in this game, and you realize later on in the game what's the point of the roguelike elements in this game. But there it is right there. It's definitely a very fun shooter. It does get very repetitive. That's pretty much the whole shoot 'em up genre. What can I say? They get repetitive over time. there we go. Valkyrie Chronicles 4 demo. I can't say too much about this game. However, I did actually play this game at my friend's house though. It's just that I'm still not going to buy this game. It's still a very good game. If you like tactical RPGs, whether we're talking about the Fire Emblem series, whether we're talking about Advanced Wars and other games in the genre where you're pretty much on a grid and you're moving your different characters on a grid and then you take turns battling, then you're going to like Valkyrie Chronicles 4. But for me, it was a good game. Just I don't know how I feel about this game, but overall it's still a very good game. I guess the only reason I'm not buying it is because I'm kind of drained out of that series. I recently played Fire Emblem, I think Echoes, on the 3DS, and I'm like, what's the point of this? Do I need to buy another one? Maybe I'll wait until I get bored. But then you have to realize as well, the new Fire Emblem game's supposed to be coming out sometime next year, already confirmed. So I might just hold off for that. But if you like this, if you like those type of games, you're gonna like this game. But this game is not your traditional game like armies and stuff like that. It pretty much plays like yeah, it's pretty much army-based. What am I saying? I meant to say medieval, but it's pretty much an army-based tactical game where you're going around with like tanks, snipers, gunners, and things like that. And it also has a very unique art style. It's kind of like shell-shaded, just like Borderlands, I do believe. So if you like the art style, if you like those games, then definitely give this game a try. I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed with this game. Next up, I have World Soccer Pinball. I got this for free with my gold points. What can I say about this game? This game is just another pinball game, but what I can say is there is one stupid thing I found out about this game. This game does not support the Pro Controller for whatever reason, and it's not my Pro Controller being busted. They just really did not program the Pro Controller in this game. What a stupid mistake on this indie developer. But then again, you do have to realize this game is dirt cheap, and it probably took them like literally hours to make this game, so it's not that big a deal. But I just wanted to throw that out there. If you like pinball, you'll like it. If you don't like pinball, whatever. Next up, I had the 3 pinball games on my Nintendo Switch. Funny thing with these pinball games is you actually get a free table right when you download the game. So it's kind of like you do get free pinball right off the bat. Pretty much how these games work. They pretty much work a la carte. So if you like buying individual pinball machines, that's how these games work. You just buy them via a la carte. You just choose and pick what pinball machines you want to buy. One of them is more realistic, I think, Stern Pinball, and the other one's more fantasy, just made up tables that aren't realistic. And then the last thing I have on my Nintendo Switch is Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, and that's a demo. Didn't really want to buy that game on the Nintendo Switch. It's not a bad game. It's just, I don't know really. But anyway, there is all the games on my Nintendo Switch as of December 2018 going into January 2019. Once again, here is every single piece of software I have loaded on my Nintendo Switch. Maybe this video would give you some ideas to what games you may want to buy on your Nintendo Switch, and I hope you guys maybe found some useful information out of this video. And like I said before, right after this video is being uploaded, I'm probably going to go ahead and play Diablo 3 Internal Collection, and I'm so excited to be playing this game. Anyway, guys, this is Wayne from My Tech News, signing out. Boop!